Welcome back to another episode of MotoGP Mac, and today we're going to talk about the sprint race that just happened for the Italian Grand Prix at Mugello. Now, before we get into it, here is how it finished. Pecco Bagnaia won it from Marc Marquez, Pedro Acosta, Franco Morbidelli, Maverick Viñales, Brad Binder, Fabio Di Giannantonio, Alex Marquez, Aleix Espargaro, Raul Fernandez, Marco Bezzecchi, Jack Miller, Alex Rins, Pol Espargaro, Johan Zarco, Taka Nakagami, Augusto Fernandez, Lorenzo Savadori, and Luca Marini was the last one to cross the line. Jorge Martin crashed out. Joan Mir retired. Enea Bastianini had an incident with Jorge Martin and crashed. And Fabio Quartararo and Miguel Oliveira also had an incident where they were both taken out into the gravel. Now, what can I say about the race? The race was pretty epic, actually. You know, Pecco got an absolute unbelievable start and realistically looked really, really strong and confident from lap one. Very un-Pecco-like, I must say. But he was, there was no doubt that he was fired up to win this, especially after his comment in qualifying about his grid penalty, the clown penalty from the stewards, etc. So he was definitely out to win this. Really good race as well from Marc Marquez, really gritty race. He had to work for it. And he did have good enough pace. Once he got past Martin, we didn't really know whether he was going to close in on Pecco or not, but, he did get a couple of warnings from his front tyre especially. But overall, it was a really good race from Marquez. Pedro Acosta, now it is known that he has been promoted for next year to the factory KTM. And that definitely means Jack Miller is out. Had a good race overall. He definitely really needed this finish, if I'm honest. Good, solid finish for him. Never really a threat to the front runners, but again, good, solid sprint race from him. Franco Morbidelli, probably one of the surprises of the race for me. 4th place. Yes, people did crash out in front of him, I will admit that, but again, it is good to see Franco up there. Even when Martin was running, he was the second teammate in the running in the top 10, which is rare on these occasions. Maverick Viñales, I think he was kind of bullied at the start, if I'm honest. And never really looked that he could get into any sort of rhythm, but saying that 5th place is good enough. Brad Binder, the bike looked very leery, I would call it. It was like pitching all over the place. Definitely looked like a handful to ride. Fabio Di Giannantonio, not doing his stock levels any harm at all. Top 7 again, first VR46 rider home. Good enough for me and for him, if I'm honest. Alex Marquez, solid race from Alex. Didn't really see too much of him, but there was a good cluster of them together. So it could have gone either way from Binder all the way down to Aleix Espargaro in 9th. So good, solid race from Marquez. Okay-ish race for Aleix Espargaro. It is an important race for Aprilia as well. So 9th, not so bad overall. Raul Fernandez, good enough race. If I'm honest, he had good enough qualifying sessions and etc. Not sure is the pace fully there yet. 10 seconds behind in 12 laps is quite a chunk. But we will wait and see what happens tomorrow. Marco Bezzecchi, bike looked an awful handful for him. Looked like it was tying itself up in knots, if I'm actually honest, every time he tried to enter the corner. But top 11, it's okay, but it's not really where you expect Bezzecchi to be around Mugello. Jack Miller, okay, but I suppose the day that's in it, he's found out that he's lost his factory seat. Well, now he probably knew it earlier on, but again, not so great. But the bike, you can see it even with Binder, they're suffering the same thing. The bike is tying itself up in knots and really, really leery to ride. Alex Rins, the potential yesterday of the fast lap was not really reflected in his pace, but saying that, look, he's still getting used to the Yamaha. He needs some time. A really, really good race from Pol Espargaro. take my hat off to you, sir. Really, really good. You know, I still start to question, should they start looking at replacing Augusto Fernandez with Pol Espargaro? You know, this definitely kind of points in the direction of maybe if Pol Espargaro is nearly 7 or 8 seconds ahead of Augusto in a 12-lap race. Johan Zarco, you know, top Honda, Nakagami, so they're pretty close to each other, let's just say. Augusto Fernandez in 17th, again, not really where you expect him to be. You know, last year's potential showed way more, but it is what it is, I guess. Lorenzo Savadori, again, not really visible in the race. And Luca Marini, I really don't know what to say. 25 seconds in a 12-lap race. You know, you do the maths yourself. It ain't good. Jorge Martin lost the front into San Donato in turn 1. You could definitely see he was pushing after Marquez past him. Does say that he has a better setup for tomorrow than the sprint race, but, you know, you still kind of imagine Jorge Martin to always win sprint races. Joan Mir retired for some reason, not really 100% sure. Enea Bastianini, it was kind of one of those weird ones. It is definitely a racing incident. Bastianini dived up the inside of Martin, ran wide. Martin was coming back to the race line. Very much so like the incident in Portugal, in my view, where they both met in the middle and one went down and one carried on. And Fabio Quartararo and Miguel Oliveira. Miguel Oliveira went up the inside, lost the front, and took Fabio with them. All deemed racing incidents, and I don't disagree with them on that. All in all, I thought it was a really good race. Really happy with how majority of the riders went. Actually, you know, it was good to see it not patter off after a few laps. It was going all the way to the end. But I definitely love to know your thoughts. Who do you think is your rider of the day, and who do you think is your race winner for tomorrow? Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another video.